It started with something extremely simple. No red carpet, no flashing cameras, no formal introduction, just a short dance video playing on a screen, and Leonardo DiCaprio sitting quietly, watching without saying a word. At first, nothing seemed unusual. In Hollywood, people watch videos all the time. Clips come and go, most of them forgotten within seconds. But this time was different. From the moment the video began, Leonardo DiCaprio didn't look away. His posture changed, his attention locked in, and for someone who has seen thousands of performances over decades, that alone already meant something was happening. The video showed Jimin dancing. No excessive effects, no distractions, just movement, music, and emotion blending into one. Every step was controlled, but never stiff. Every turn was precise, yet soft. It wasn't aggressive and it wasn't loud. It was calm, confident, and deeply expressive. What made the moment powerful was not how complex the choreography looked, but how natural it felt. Jimin wasn't trying to impress. He wasn't performing for approval. He was simply existing inside the dance, as if his body and the music were having a private conversation. Leonardo DiCaprio noticed that immediately. People who were present later described the atmosphere as unusually quiet. No side conversations, no jokes. The room slowly adjusted to the rhythm of the video. And as Jimin moved, DiCaprio leaned slightly forward, his eyes fixed on the screen, not in curiosity, but in focus. That focus is important. Leonardo DiCaprio is known for being selective with what captures his attention. As an actor, he studies behavior, emotion, and physical expression for a living. He understands how hard it is to communicate feeling without words. And yet, here was someone doing exactly that through dance alone. The way Jimin used space stood out. He didn't rush movements. He allowed pauses to breathe. Small gestures carried as much weight as larger ones. His shoulders, his hands, the subtle shifts in his gaze all worked together to tell a story that didn't need explanation. As the video continued, something else became clear. This wasn't just talent, this was discipline layered on top of talent. Years of training showed in every second. The control over balance, timing, and energy wasn't accidental. It was intentional, refined, and deeply internalized. When the video ended, there was a brief pause. No one spoke right away. Then, unexpectedly, the video was played again. This time, Leonardo DiCaprio watched even more closely. The second viewing wasn't about first impressions, it was about details. He paid attention to transitions between movements, how Jimin entered and exited certain poses, how emotion didn't disappear even for a split second. Observers later said his expression changed during the second watch, not surprise anymore, but recognition. That recognition mattered because it meant he wasn't just seeing a dancer, he was seeing an artist. At one point, DiCaprio reportedly asked a simple question, not about fame, not about awards. He asked whether Jimin always danced with that level of control and emotion. The tone wasn't casual, it was genuinely curious. The answer, of course, wasn't simple. Jimin's journey didn't begin on global stages. It began with long hours of practice, repeated corrections, physical exhaustion, and constant self-doubt. Those years were invisible in the final performance, but they lived inside every movement, and someone like DiCaprio could sense that.
What struck him most was how restrained the performance was. In an era where many performers rely on intensity and excess, Jimin chose subtlety. He didn't overpower the music, he listened to it. He didn't chase attention, he allowed attention to come to him. That approach felt familiar to DiCaprio. As an actor known for immersive roles, he understands the value of restraint. He knows that the strongest performances often come from holding back rather than pushing forward. Watching Jimin dance was like watching a scene played out through motion instead of dialogue. At one moment, Jimin slowed his movement just enough to let the music breathe. That pause lasted less than a second, but it carried emotion that lingered much longer. DiCaprio noticed that. It reminded him of moments in film where silence speaks louder than words. After the second viewing, DiCaprio made a quiet comment that stayed with everyone in the room. He said that Jimin wasn't just dancing, he was communicating. His body was speaking in a language that didn't require translation. For fans, especially Jikook fans in the US, this detail resonated deeply because it echoed what they had always felt. Jimin's artistry doesn't depend on understanding Korean lyrics or knowing BTS history. It reaches people on a human level. What followed was a deeper conversation. DiCaprio asked about Jimin's background, his training in contemporary dance, his transition into the global music industry, and how he balances technical precision with emotional expression. These weren't surface-level questions. They reflected genuine interest. That interest alone shifted the narrative. This wasn't a Hollywood star casually acknowledging a pop idol. This was one artist recognizing another artist's craft. The more DiCaprio learned, the more impressed he became. The discipline required to maintain such control while touring, recording, and performing on massive stages is something few outside the dance world truly understand. And yet, Jimin made it look effortless. Someone in the room mentioned that the video wasn't even from a full concert. It wasn't staged to impress Hollywood. It was simply a clip shared online, like thousands of others. That fact seemed to surprise DiCaprio the most. Because if this level of artistry appeared so naturally, without intention to impress, it suggested depth. It suggested consistency. It suggested that Jimin's talent wasn't situational, it was embedded. As the conversation continued, DiCaprio reflected on how rare it is to see performers who fully trust their bodies. Many dancers chase perfection. Jimin, instead, seemed to chase honesty. His movements weren't about being flawless, they were about being true. That honesty is what stayed with DiCaprio long after the video ended. For fans watching this story unfold from afar, especially those deeply invested in Jikook, the moment felt surreal. Seeing Jimin's artistry resonate beyond music circles, beyond fandom spaces, and into the heart of Hollywood validated what they had always believed. This wasn't about crossover appeal, it was about universal expression. Dance became the bridge, emotion became the message. And somewhere between the first and second viewing of that video, something shifted. Jimin was no longer just a name associated with BTS. He became an individual artist in DiCaprio's mind, defined by discipline, sensitivity, and control. The screen eventually went dark, conversations moved on, but the impression didn't fade, because moments like this don't disappear easily. They sit quietly, waiting to resurface the next time someone asks, "Have you ever seen something that stopped you completely?" And for Leonardo DiCaprio, that answer now included a single video of Jimin dancing. What makes this story linger isn't the rumor itself or the name Leonardo DiCaprio attached to it. What makes it powerful is the reminder of how art truly works. One person, one screen, one performance. No language barrier, no explanation needed. Jimin didn't speak in that video. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't explain his background or his achievements. And yet, everything about him was understood. The years of discipline, the emotional intelligence, the quiet confidence that doesn't demand attention, but earns it. For someone like Leonardo DiCaprio, whose career has been built on observing human behavior and translating emotion into performance, that kind of artistry stands out immediately. It crosses industries, it crosses cultures, it crosses expectations. This wasn't about becoming a fan because of popularity. It was about respect, formed through recognition, one artist seeing another artist, and understanding the depth behind what looks effortless on the surface. And for fans, especially Jikook fans across the US, this moment feels symbolic. It shows that what they've been seeing all along isn't limited to stages or fandom spaces. Jimin's artistry exists on a level that can stop even the most experienced eyes in the room. A single dance video did that. Not because it was loud, not because it was dramatic, but because it was honest. And sometimes, honesty is the most powerful performance of all. If this one video could leave such an impression, it raises a quiet but exciting thought. How many more moments like this are waiting to be discovered simply because the right eyes haven't seen them yet? If this story caught your attention, stay with us. More moments, more unexpected reactions, and more stories where talent speaks louder than headlines are coming next.